It is extremely easy to stand out. But if everybody stood out, then nobody would stand out or stand out. Let me show you how to stand up in a crazy, saturated digital world. Good morning. Welcome back. Here we go. Another Friday. What is this? I don't know. This is the second Friday. No, second Friday. No, yeah, second. Don't know how many Friday this is of July, but anyway, this is halfway, 15th of July today, and excited to be back and got an exciting episode ahead. I think got to be talking about content marketing and how you can build your financial planning brand and your business with content marketing. It's something that we've been doing for a very, very long time, and really seeing the benefits of that. So I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned, but also then, why in the first place and what is it all about and how can you get started with this. It's never too late to come to this content marketing game, and it's extremely useful. It is a very friendly way of doing it. So I'm excited to share that with you today. They also have back David Kopp from the FPI doing current affairs, and we have Norma. Norma's talking about the real reason behind burnout, and then a couple of announcements, or just one announcement, but there's a couple of announcements inside of that announcement. So I don't know if that makes it more than one, but then we get into the topic of today. So let me say a warm good morning this morning, just quickly. Morning, Mark. Awesome to see you. Albert Fritz, good morning. Hope you are doing well. Gary Nel, goeiemôre. Hoop het gaan goed daar by jou. Goeiemôre Kobus. Hope it's going well. Mary, good morning. Nice to see you. Awesome that you're saying hi. Good morning. Terence, good morning, everybody. Good morning, my friend. Hope it's going well with you. Jonita, goeiemôre. All the way there in KZN. We've got quite a few people from the KZN's world. So awesome to see you. Morning, Kovendra. It's been a while, I feel. So hope you're doing well. And thank you, Albert. It's the third Friday. You see, there's always someone who has my back. Thank you very much, Albert. Sima, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Almin, good morning. And Mark, good morning. I hope it's going well down in the land of Oz. And then we've also got Philip who joined. Good morning, Philip. Thank you for saying hi. All right, so let's get into the show and head on over to David. He has a whole host of things he wants to share with us this morning. So, David, you up, my friend?
Good morning, and if you're watching the recording, good afternoon or evening at your time. In today's current affairs, we're going to be talking Fitch ratings, SARS strike, crypto crime, the FECA enforcement activities, as well as Samsung phone testing. So let's get into it. So government notes Fitch's decision to affirm South Africa's long-term foreign and currency debt ratings at BB- and maintain a stable outlook. According to Fitch, the affirmation takes into consideration that government's debt trajectory is lower than previously anticipated, as well as recent improvements in several key credit metrics, including the current account balance. However, the agency anticipates debt stabilization to remain a challenge. Government will continue to demonstrate its commitment to fiscal sustainability and enable long-term growth by narrowing the budget deficit and sizable debt. According to the agency, South Africa's ratings are supported by a favorable debt structure with long maturities and denominated mostly in local currency, as well as a credible monetary framework. So let's hope we can continue to grow the economy and get better in terms of everything that's going on. Then the latest on SARS industrial action. SARS apologizes for any inconvenience caused due to the industrial action taking place across SARS, where they're experiencing delays in servicing taxpayers. While the below branches may be close to the public, they will continue to offer virtual appointments as booked. In the event that a virtual booking is not honest, please note that the branch will follow up and do the necessary service recovery. Please continue to make use of our digital service offerings during the time, says Edward Kitswetter. So the branches that are closed, I'm not going to read them all now because we might be here, but there are 32 branch offices of SARS that is closed due to the industrial action. So if possible, taxpayers should be using the digital channels. So as the crypto market is getting more and more attention, MoneyWeb has published an interesting article on crypto crime. Crypto sleuth and former US Drug Enforcement Agency agent William Callahan explains how cryptos are being used to fund anything from drug deals to prostitution. Criminals initially started using crypto because it favored anonymity, but with modern crypto tracking technology, maintaining anonymity is becoming more and more difficult. Because blockchain transactions are completely transparent and can be looked up using search engines such as Etherscan or blockchain.com's Explorer, criminals must find new ways to hand over their crypto anonymously. William Callahan, Director of Government and Strategic Affairs at Blockchain Intelligence Group, a global cryptocurrency compliance and investigation firm, has personally seen crypto being exchanged in a parking lot for a bag of cash. So they're starting to use things called hardware wallets, which is a physical device and not storing it online. One of the interesting tidbits in the article was talking about social media. So the dark web is part of the internet where users can remain anonymous, where the source of websites is often concealed. In the early days of the internet, this was the go-to place for criminal activities. Now it all happens on social media. A lot of what used to happen in the dark web, you can now see happen on social media, but people are communicating in emojis. So one of the examples that is highlighted in that, an emoji of a nose followed by a snowflake may mean that somebody is looking to buy drugs. So very interesting how we are moving from the dark web to social media for criminal activities, and crypto is funding some of these activities. Then the FSCA Enforcement Department has been quite busy. There are two press releases issued. The first one is the FSCA has conducted a search and seizure operation at the premises of Akani Retirement Fund Administrators in terms of the Financial Sector Regulation Act. The purpose of the operation was to gather facts and information to assist the authority in its current investigation into the entity. After the FSCA received complaints which contained sufficient information to create reasonable suspicion that financial sector laws had been contravened by Akani. The order was granted by the Deputy Judge President. FSCA Commissioner Unati Kamlana says the overriding objective of the SCA is to protect financial customers, which include members of retirement funds who demographically represent the members of society. The operation is in keeping with that duty and is in the interest of clean administration in the retirement fund sector. The FSCA at the moment is not at liberty to disclose the details of the information, but it will be shared as soon as they've conducted and carefully considered the process. Then they've issued a warning against Naravish Financial Services and Veracity Markets. These two companies were trading as over-the-counter businesses and are not licensed as such. They have ordered them to cease trading. And finally, how does Samsung test their phones? Well, Samsung tests their phone durability with a butt-shaped robot. People often stash their phones in their back pockets, which is why Samsung created a robot shaped like a butt to sit on their phones to make sure they can take the pressure. Believe it or not, the robot even wears jeans. So with that note, enjoy the weekend, and back to you in the studio, Francois.
Awesome stuff. Next up, we have Norma, and let's talk a little bit about the real reason for burnout.
Good morning. Glad to be back today. So I want to talk to you about burnout today. And this has become a topic, especially in the media, where it's a lot more talked about, and especially after COVID. A lot of the media suggests that burnout has actually increased since COVID. So I just want to tell you what the World Health Organization says about it. Then I want to tell you what I believe about it. I'll just give you an example, and then we can just look at 3 ways how to prevent burnout. So the World Health Organization just defines burnout as a syndrome that is conceptualized in, as a result of chronic workplace stress, and then that stress not being managed properly. It also says that the symptoms of this burnout is where your energy is so depleted and you get exhausted, where individuals really feel very negative about their career, and they also feel lots of distance from their jobs. And then the last one is that there's a reduction in productivity. So I believe that burnout is really, it has to do with the energy or the attitude that we have towards the work that we do. So it's that fuel, it's that emotional fuel that really drives the actions that we take while we are busy working. So have you ever been or maybe seen someone that has suffered from burnout? So have you ever been fueled by things like maybe fear, inadequacy, frustration, greed, or scarcity? So those are normally the things that really deplete us very quickly. We get exhausted. We feel stressed all the time. And it also feels like, a lot of the times there's a lot of anxiety present. So those are the type of things that really wears us down and then eventually lead to burnout. So just 3 ways that I think can help us to prevent burnout is, and it's really very simple, the things that we can do, is to make sure that, we're aware of what we're thinking. So thinking positive things, thinking stuff that is useful to us and things that is really serving us. So if I go into my job on a daily basis and I say, I hate my job, I can't wait to get out of here at 5. Those are normally not the type of thoughts that would drive us to thrive in any environment. So make sure that you know those little sentences that you keep repeating to yourself throughout the day. Another one that I think is very important is proper planning. And a lot of us work lots of hours in a day, but we're not really very productive. So what I suggest is always to have an intention. So have a result at the end of any task that you do, and make sure that you give yourself a deadline. So instead of saying, I want to work on this the entire day, tell yourself, I want to do it in 2 hours. And then lastly, just to get away from that scarcity mindset, to move towards that abundance mindset. So also to stop saying to myself, I never have enough time, I never have enough money, I never have enough. So to turn that around into statements like, I have enough time to do what is important today, or I have enough right now at this moment. So those type of things and being intentional about it can put us in that positive frame of mind. And what I always think is a good question to ask ourselves in any situation is this work that I'm doing depleting me, or is it energizing me? So that's what I have for you today about burnout. I hope you can use those 3 tips to prevent burnout. So thanks, and I'll be back next week.
Alrighty, so next up is the technology segment. I want to share it's not a new tool, but it is a new version of this tool that I want to share with you. And let me keep you a little bit in suspense. I'll see you on the other side. Alrighty, so right, so what do I want to share with you today? Well, some of you may know that we have we have software called the tax tool, and the tax tool is something that I built way back in end of 2016, if I remember correctly. It's Excel based, and it is a tool that's been selling quite well and has got a good following, people who use it religiously every single year. And what we did was we built this into a proper application. So it does come out in a few phases. So we have built the core functionality of the tax tool. That's, I just quickly want to show you what it looks like and what it is that you can expect from it, and then when it is going live and when we are launching this. So let me just quickly show this to you. So this is what the TaxSpace app looks like. It is now completely web-based. It is completely in the cloud, so no more Excel sheets, different versions of worksheets and things that you need to save or anything like that. Simple and easy. And there's a few things that we did in order to make this a better experience and obviously more valuable. So from this, first of all, you can create your client once, so you don't need to go and redo any information like you used to do in Excel. And then you can also create multiple scenarios for a client. And not only that, you can also do multiple tax years for a specific client. So that is sort of what some of the first big things that we have done. All right, so this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can probably make this a little bit bigger like that. There you go. So this is the core tool. As I said, this is all about taking a client's tax assessment, or just, if you're doing planning for a client, whatever is applicable to that, and you want to understand what the tax implication is going to be. That's one use. The other big thing that we actually do with this is, like, once you put a client's information in there, it's not a mini F&A, but it does an analysis, and there's certain things that it looks for opportunities automatically. And then off the back of that, it creates an amazing report, which I'll show to you in a second. So here you've got all the details, so simple details. We ask for the bare minimum. We don't want unnecessary things. This is not a CRM. It's not where you manage your client information. This is just all about creating opportunities, opening opportunities, highlighting risks for clients, making them aware of things, and having a new reason to go and talk to them about something different than what maybe we usually would talk about. There's all sorts of different kinds of all the types of incomes you can put in there. And the nice thing as well, you can put in multiple incomes now by the click of a button. That's all of the same kind. You'll see that we included codes wherever possible, and so on and so forth, to make it easy. If you're looking at an IT34, it's that code goes into that field. It's really very, very simple. As you do it, the calculations will show you on the right-hand side, the results. It stays there. As you scroll, it will stay. So that's quite cool. So we've got everything in here to do a full-on tax calculation. We've used this tool when we had our tax practice to actually show and check whether SARS is doing the correct calculation. So we know that this is spot on. So very, very comfortable with that. The big thing at this point in time, like, once you've done that, you can go and view the report. And this is what the report looks like. I think it looks bloody amazing compared to the one that I did myself in Excel way back, So it was very boring and very plain. And we made it more exciting. So apart from, like, these are almost the only sort of thing that would resemble a calculation. The rest of the things we are using more of a sort of infographic approach and making it a little bit more explanatory, a little bit more fun. So you can see that's what it looks like. You can PDF this and email it to a client, etc. So some very interesting things that it would highlight then from the analysis. So this is a fantastic tool. As I said, we are going live by the 1st of August. Is the due date finally? So yeah, there's a load of things that had to get into place. We've been busy with this for about 2 years now, and finally we are sort of there. So so more info, you can go to www.taxspace.app is where you will find the site. You can't sign up yet. Even if it does take you there, you won't be able to sign up. But yeah, we are excited. So please look out we will have a launch. We will send out emails. We will send out a WhatsApp. So if you're interested, then please let me know. Alrighty, so that's it for the technology for today. And obviously at the launch, we'll explain a little bit more about exactly how this is beneficial to your practice and to the advice you give and to open opportunities and different discussion points. So lekker. Alrighty, so that's it for the technology segment. There we go. Alrighty, so Let me just get the music up. There we go, because this is announcement time. So the big announcement, obviously, it's everything from now until the 23rd of August is going to be all about the Propulsion Summit. And man, what a journey. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this one. I think we are really putting something amazing together. We already did, so everything's there. All the keynote speakers have been confirmed. All the panelists have been confirmed. Gee whiz, sponsors are coming on board at the moment, thick and fast. So really, really grateful for that. Jeez. Okay, let me just put that a little bit softer. Sorry for that. All right. So what is it about? Well, what we are doing is we want to make the experience of attending a virtual summit like this, because it's going to be completely virtual this year at least. And we want to make it a new experience. We want to make it energetic. We want to make it dynamic. We want to make it fun. And that's exactly what we did when we put the framework together. So instead of having 30-minute, 20-minute keynotes, we have 10-minute keynotes, and we have fantastic people. Where am I? Let me show you. We've already started announcing them on LinkedIn, and the first one is this guy. I don't know. Let me just take off the banner. I don't know who of you know Douglas Kruger, an absolutely amazing speaker. I remember when I saw him for the first time in Pretoria at the Pretoria Country Club speaking at a stand-up event. Geez, that voice just blew me almost out of the room. So he's been on the show. We are really, really fortunate to have him. And not only that, right? I'm challenging these people to go from a normal 40-minute keynote or half an hour keynote and to take that and put it into a 10-minute keynote. So all the value, everything packed into 10 minutes. No long stories, no, just getting to the point, and also entertaining and sort of inspiring you as they go along. So the first one there is Douglas. So very happy. He's going to talk about the Your Rules, Break Them. So an awesome topic, because our theme is raising the bar, and everything we're going to talk about, all the panels, everything is going to be about raising the bar. Then our second keynote speaker that we have announced yesterday is Ollie. So Ollie Smith is the UK editor at at Morningstar. Sorry for that, Ollie. And he's going to talk about well-being traps, how workplaces can do better on mental health. So really excited for that one as well. Awesome. I've had the privilege of talking to Ollie before, and being on shows and things where he was also on, and really an amazing experience. So something to look forward to. So there are 5 more of these keynote speakers that we will be announcing in the coming weeks. So as I said, all of them have been confirmed already. And but we are just stretching out the excitement a little bit and announcing them like every Tuesday and every Thursday until we've announced all 7 of them. Then we have 6 panels, and these panels have been put together so that with a very specific sort of focus in mind. We wanted to address various areas of financial planning of the profession. And if it's all about raising the bar, there's a whole host of things that we're going to be talking about. So we are talking about technology, we're talking about practice management, leadership, we're talking about the global financial planning profession, we are talking about financial planning as well as beyond financial planning, to sort of get into that. And the panelists, you can see them all on the website. If you go to propulsionsummit.com, the link is down below in the description on the YouTube channel. Then you will be able to see, there's it on the screen, propulsionsummit.com. You can get all the information, the speakers as we announce them, the panelists with the panels and the topics for the panels. It's all on the website. You can also view the agenda on there. There's a little button that'll take you to, it's actually a big button now that I think about it. It'll take you to the agenda. So go and see what is happening. It's starting at 9 a.m. in the morning on the 23rd of August and runs through until 2 p.m. And that's what we are very excited about. Tickets are 390 Rand a ticket. And if you jump before the 24th of July, you can get it at 325. Propulsion Pro members, it's included in your membership, so you don't have to go and register. We will register you automatically. as I always say, auto-magically. So yeah, and you must be a paid up pro member. So in other words, you must be paying one, and you must be up to date to get that ticket. So that's important. Right, so propulsionsummit.com, that is where it's at. Alrighty, so with that, let's get into today's featured topic and talk about content marketing. Alrighty, here we go. So when we talk about content marketing, what are we really talking about? Because I think, again, like many other things in our wonderful profession, people have different views and different ideas and different definitions for the same thing. So how do we view this? And this is sort of my view of content marketing. I think you can also call this content creation, if you will, but it's really using content in order to market and gain exposure for your business. This is mostly a digital strategy. When people talk about content marketing in general, what we're really talking about is a digital strategy. Although if you really think about it, we've been doing this content marketing thing for many, many years, because just think about, articles in newspapers, in magazines, being on radio, being on TV, so content marketing is not a new concept, but the thing is now it's all digital. And because you have access to all of those mediums, it is just such a simple, easy way to use content marketing for your business. So, so yes, it's a digital strategy, but what is it really about? I think in my case, it's about sharing, right? Sharing ideas, sharing knowledge, sharing like solutions, any of those kind of things. It is definitely something. If I think about good content, what is good content is when I go and search for something and there's an answer to the problem I'm trying to solve. There is an answer or an idea to trigger something that I can do next. There is guidance that I receive that I can use to my benefit. And it's all about that. The other thing it is definitely about, and this is my space and where I operate in, is education. So, I mean, we're big into financial advisor development and creating awesome content to help advisors move their businesses forward, etc. So that's really what we're about. So a lot of the content we do is obviously educational. So it's definitely about education. And yes, it is today about, specifically if you look at the younger generation, but even anybody else, I think, like, I don't believe there's such a big difference between all the different generations and what they're about and what they want. Like, we're all human beings. At the end of the day, there's certain things like we only have so much attention. We only have so much time. We only have so much energy. So at the end of the day, it is also about, believe it or not, entertaining. And it is also about storytelling, definitely. So those things are definitely what content marketing is about. And when we set off on this content marketing journey, it's important to incorporate all of those things, not all of it into the same piece of content, but spread them across different kinds and different pieces of content. So that's definitely the one thing that I believe content marketing is not about. And there is a place for it, right? But that's sort of very specific. But when you think about content marketing in general and what it is that you're trying to achieve, it's definitely not about showcasing you. It's not about showcasing your business. It's not about showcasing your products, your services. It's got actually nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with the person you're talking to on the other end. So whether it's through a camera like this, or whether it is an article that you wrote, whether you're on a podcast, it's not about you. It's not about your business. Nobody cares, like, really. I mean, just think about this, like how many times people would go like, Olivia, like what's in it for them? Knowing more about you, absolutely critical. It's part of building your brand. And that's what I mean with saying there's a place for it. There is a place to show what training you're attending, what awards you're winning, what you're doing from whatever perspective that's maybe got nothing to do with your client, because it does show them how serious you are and it helps build your brand. But that's a brand building exercise. And yes, you can build brand using content marketing, absolutely. But the content marketing I'm talking about today it's not about the branding. Branding is obvious. It's often a spin-off of that. Like I've experienced in the last 2.5 years with the show. It's something that we didn't set out for. It's something that just, for me, was an unintended consequence, and it was a big lesson from the journey. But it wasn't about that. I still managed to do that without talking about the things that I do and the things that I'm about, etc. So, definitely something to just keep in mind when I talk about content marketing. I'm talking about the value that you bring to the person you are talking to and making it all about them and solving their problem and answering their questions, because that's where the most power is. Right. So if that is what content marketing is and what it is not about, I guess the next question becomes is, why should you even care, about this? Because like Francois, really, now I do assume, I've seen people on here this morning. Thank you very much for saying hi, by the way. That I haven't really seen you in a long time, or maybe they've been here, but they haven't said hello. So it's awesome. But obviously there's something about content marketing that you are interested in and that you want to learn about. So I want to sort of start off with this and say, well, why should you even care about content marketing? Because you're already so busy. You're already so thinly stretched. You are already running around, now running a business virtually from anywhere, people sitting all over the place. There's new challenges that came about. So why should you even care about this? Well, first of all, just think about this. Even when you start looking for something, doesn't matter what it is, right? Whether it is whether you want to buy a car, or whether you have a question about how a credit card works, or you have a question about anything. In fact, like, you don't ask anyone. You, like, probably 99% of us go to Google and go, ask my question then, start looking for answers there. So the journey for financial planning for any person actually today starts on the internet. 99% of the time, I would guess. I've got no facts to back that up, but intuition, experience, seeing what people are doing, I believe that that's exactly what is happening and why they're doing that. The other thing is that if you think about content marketing, it's so much better than an ad. Why? Because an ad is just about this big, maybe a full page, costs you a lot of money. Maybe it's some banner ads and some ads that you push through Google AdWords and whatever it may be. But it's static, it's small, it needs to catch someone's attention. But it does nothing other than that, all right? Whereas if you think about content marketing, the benefits here are that people get to experience your personality. They get to see your expertise in action without you saying, like, I know this much and I do this and I do that. By simply talking about their problem and a solution to their problem, they get to experience this. And I experienced this in person way back in 2016. I think I mentioned this probably before. I was presenting a session at a big construction company on behalf of one of the insurers. It was all about the pension fund and sort of what their options were, because for those people within 5 years of retirement. And there were people sitting in that audience that were listening to me. And afterwards, that came to me to come and ask me for help. I was just there as a facilitator. I could not help. I had to refer them to someone else that was there. And they walked right out the door between me and this guy. But because the difference is that they got to listen to me, and they either resonated with what I was saying, how I was saying it, the expertise that I sort of conveyed, the way that I answered questions that people asked. And these people felt like, I want to talk to this guy more. And that was an in-person experience, right? Because people sit there in a group, they look at you, and then some like you, some don't, some doesn't care. But that's what happens. And it's the same thing with content marketing. When you put content out there that are talking about people's problems, that are talking about solutions to those problems, people resonate with the way you explain. They resonate with the way, you sort of answer the questions. They love that stuff. And they say, oh, this person knows what they are talking about. I really like the way that he explains stuff, or that she explains stuff. So I want to know more. And that sort of attracts them to want to contact you and do business with you. Just having an ad with a call to action is not enough. Most people will not click that because money is such a personal thing. Finances are such a personal thing. And now they're walking around, and just think about this, right? So if they can hear that you speak their language, they make a decision on their own, and they decide to contact you or to engage with you. I mean, isn't that a lot less intrusive than something like a cold call, for example, or sliding into someone's DMs, like their direct messaging, just because, like, oh, we connected and you don't know me, but I was wondering this or wondering that. So yeah, and the problem is that often with that, when we do those kind of things, the cold calls, the DMs, those kind of things, we're interrupting someone's day and they're not necessarily ready. So it becomes a numbers game, right? So you're trying to reach all these people as fast as possible because math says and history says that if I make so many calls or send so many messages, out of 100, 10 respond, and out of 10, I get 3 appointments, and out of 3 appointments, I close 1. So if I just keep doing that, I know how many I need to do in a month. So it's a lot of effort for very little reward, in my opinion. But in the short term, that is maybe a good strategy to get going. But long term, it does become quite a thing. So content marketing, that's the other thing about content marketing. You've got to have this long-term idea about it. You've got to have a long-term vision for it. You've got to have a long-term commitment to this. There are people in the community, in the Propulsion Pro community, who are extremely good at content marketing and engaging with people on social media, for example. But it didn't happen overnight. They committed to this and they've been doing this for years. And we think they just showed up. But they're really seeing the benefits as they go along. The other thing about content marketing, and this is the thing I also experienced in that session, is that it builds, or even with a show actually more than that session, is that it builds familiarity, right? You feel like you get to know the person. You feel like there's a relationship, even though you've maybe never met. You feel like I understand this. I love the way Francois says, good morning. A lot of people sort of, that's the first thing they experience and the first thing they remember, but that's sort of the personality. And that is the way that sort of people connect. So you can do exactly the same thing. It's that building familiarity that when you meet or they do contact you or you do happen to contact them, that it feels like, sure, I know this person. So, it's a lot easier. And it also builds trust. And those two things are the basis for any relationship, is familiarity and trust. So definitely something you should be caring about. The other big thing for me is, and it sort of alludes to the sliding into DMs, making cold calls, interrupting someone's day. It is really about meeting people when they are ready to listen. This is almost like when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. I think Tony Robbins says that, or somebody like that says that. And it's very true. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, he's not in the business of convincing anyone to do business with him or that they need what he does. Like when they're ready, they can come and talk to him and then he'll engage. But for us to spend time convincing someone who's not ready to listen, who's not ready to do something, is really futile. It's a lot of energy wasted to rather just find the people who are ready. And that's what happened with content marketing. When someone is ready, they start searching, they start looking, they start consuming, and then they start engaging. So that's the power from that. And then the biggest thing probably, or one of the biggest things, if you do create content consistently, and consistency may mean different things to different people, is that you build up a digital track record, right? So when somebody does start searching and people maybe, so they saw you online and then this person said, oh, you need to speak to that person. And they go and look for you and there's all this stuff and they can see, wow, you really know what you're talking about. Whoa, you've been around for a long time. Whoa, love the way that they do things. So that is one of the big things with this, is that digital track record that you are building. All right. So that's why you should deeply care. The next one is, I first called this like different types of content, but that's not really true. This is more different formats. And the formats of content, it's just different ways in which you can produce and publish. There goes my smash. So, different ways that you can produce and publish content. And there's obviously many of these things you will be familiar with. But the biggest idea around the format is that you need to choose something that you're most comfortable with, something that will probably be easiest for you. And I don't even think that you should set out to publish what it is that you create. Maybe it's just the process of getting into the creating part so that you can get used to that. And I can tell you this, way back in 2016, I think it was 2016, I committed to writing articles for my newsletter. I wrote so many articles, and the more I did it, the quicker and easier it became. So it's the same thing with a show. Like the first things took me so long to prepare for, and now it takes a lot quicker, and it's just more slick because I've done it now. This is episode 182. So, you've done it so many times that it becomes so easy. It doesn't take that long. But that first bit is a little bit frustrating. It's a little bit like sometimes annoying, and it's unsettling and all of that, but definitely something that is worthwhile. So what are the different formats? Well, obviously, I think the first thing that comes to mind when we think about content marketing is obviously articles or blogs. That's sort of something that was big specifically in Web 1.0, I would say. Then came along Web 2.0, and now we have things like podcasts and videos and images and all sorts of things. So those are definitely also good ways to create this. And the big thing where I think, if you think about this, because clients would, or even prospective clients would want to consume things in different formats, right? So once you've created one piece of content, to repurpose that content and use it somewhere else, turn it into like, let's say, write an article, turn it into a podcast, turn it into a video, turn it into a infographic or something, becomes so much easier. To create social media posts off the back of that is so much easier because the work is already done. So you're not only creating one piece of content for content marketing, you're actually creating multiple things if you want to, just by creating one. And that's the crazy part to understand, like just how powerful this can be and how you can find people in different places and in different ways to make them aware that you exist. Just some of the things, so as I've mentioned, there's podcasts and videos and stuff. There's also, PDF guides. Sometimes you see them in a carousel on LinkedIn. Sometimes it's just a downloadable PDF and people want your email address in return for it. And sometimes they give it away for free. Doesn't really matter, but there's PDF guides that you can do. Graphics, I think, is a big thing, like not just infographics, because sometimes you feel like you have to have a design degree and a design thing to be able to do that, but not really necessary. So simple graphics, just showing things in a picture format and telling a story around that is extremely powerful. Then obviously things like social media posts, email. Don't throw away email as part of content marketing. You think about something like you're sending out investment reports on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis. I always say that's the one email the client will definitely open, or your open rate on those things will be a lot higher than it would be on a normal email marketing campaign. And it's an excellent opportunity to just put something short and sweet in that message to reach your clients. So emails are definitely a big way. And then WhatsApps. Don't throw away WhatsApp. WhatsApp, I think, is often seen as a distribution method. So how to send the content that I've created, and it absolutely is. But you can create content specifically for WhatsApp because it needs to be shorter than the rest of the stuff. It needs to be simple, and it's really a way to drive them to the full content. But there is a way to do that as well. So there's all these different things. All right. So I guess if there's so many things, what is the next question? It's like, geez, Francois, where do I start even? Which is quite a good question if that was on your mind. So where to start? Well, let me just give you some tips first, because this was content marketing secrets, right? So some of the things to keep it or to make it very powerful and to make it sort of easy for you to start is to keep it simple and to keep it plain. So stay away from technical language, stay away from big ideas, answer the simple questions, and don't forever think that, but this question, I've seen this answered so many times. There's so much content. If I go on Google, I can find so many answers. The problem is they're not finding your answer. They're not finding the way in which you explain it. And that's what I found. Like, even I felt like that when we started the training business is, you do training, but there's people who's been around for a long time. There's people who's very well known for this. Like, why would I even? And then you have people that come to you afterwards that say, listen, for the first time, I understand this. And then you realize over time that you have a way of explaining things that some people just understand easier and connect with better than what other people do. And other people would never come to me. So also attracting the right people is so critically important. So to start off with, just keep it simple, keep it plain. Don't make it this fancy, hell of a long thing. It doesn't have to be long. Although, there is sort of a notion that longer form content does rank better when people search for it because it's seen as there's more information, there's more. But that's not how you want to start out. You want to make it simple. When you haven't, exercised for 50 years like I haven't, and you can't go and lift the heaviest weight and just go and run the Comrades or go and write the 94.7. No, baby steps. So exactly the same with this. The big thing that I would say, however, is just stay clear from giving advice. And if you're ever uncertain about what you've written or videos you've made or whatever it is, check with your compliance officer. Send it to your compliance officer and say, listen, we want to publish this. Is this fine? Are we treading the line? Are we crossing the line? Like, what's happening here? Are they comfortable? So just stay away from giving advice. And remember, advice is defined as leading people to really do or enter into a financial transaction of whatever nature. So that's what we don't want to do. You want to focus on the problem, and you want to say, well, this is the thing that you want to focus on. The other big thing when it comes to this is that you want to keep it evergreen, at least 95% of the time. So it's not to say that you shouldn't focus on topical issues and things that are happening. If you think about like the war in the Ukraine, for example, it's a very topical thing. It has a very severe impact on investments. It has an impact on a lot of things, and that has an impact on finances. And like so, it's very topical. But in 5 years from now, it'll be history, right? So nobody will probably be. There's no value in understanding that. Probably, I don't know. There might be for educational purposes, but I don't know if that's such a good example, but it doesn't really matter. But I mean, hopefully you get that. So you want stuff that is always applicable, things that people are always searching for. There's always new people searching for this, because these things are, I don't want to say basics, but they are sort of basics, and they are principles, and they are things that we all have to deal with. So that's what I mean with evergreen content. So this is another example maybe on that. If you think about technology, I can share the best tool for project management today, and then tomorrow there's another tool that's even more brilliant. So things move so quickly that you can't keep up with that. So that won't be evergreen content. It is what is valuable now, what is trending now. So those kind of things, they come and go. But things like principles, etc., they stick around forever. Then the next step would be to choose a medium that you're most comfortable with. So for most people, I guess that would be writing an article, writing a blog, something like that. For me, I create 1-2 minute videos in under 10 minutes, all done, ready to go. But it wasn't like that in the beginning. And because I talk so much on the camera, that is what I prefer now. But I started off with writing articles, and it's amazing how much you learn from writing articles and how much that helps you in your journey down this content marketing process. Then I would say, if you want to start, then think about probably the 5 most common questions that clients ask you, or that you need to answer on a regular basis. You know, every meeting you have with a new client, it's the same questions you get asked. It's almost the same answers that you're giving. So think about those and write them down, and then start with those. So write an article, and sometimes with those questions, you might be able to write multiple articles about that same question. So just start creating that. Just write it in Google Docs or in a Microsoft Word doc. You don't have to publish it anywhere, but start writing this and start building up sort of a thing. I mean, just imagine if a client contacts you and you can just send this to them with your answers already. You can even make it look pretty, etc. But that is where I would start on this journey. All right. So on that, then probably, and I'll get to the comments in a second. Some ideas for getting started. So I already sort of set the 5 questions and answer those. But just some other ways, maybe you are on this content marketing journey or content creation journey, and you're running out of ideas, or you don't know what to do next, or you just want something out. I want to answer those 5 most common questions. I want like something else. I don't know. I'm looking for something else. I want to share some other ideas with you. The first one is obviously, like, you can go to Google, and in the Google search bar, so not at the top where the address is, because you can search right at the top, right? But if you go to google.com and you go in the search and you start typing, you know that it brings up suggested searches. So when you start putting in something around retirement or making financial decisions, or just financial planning, etc., see what pops up. What does Google suggest? Because those are sort of the top searches that people are searching for on Google. There's also things like answerthepublic.com, where you can also do a similar thing, and it gives you more ideas around what people are searching for around that specific keyword or topic or whatever it may be. So that's always a good place to start, and most content creators will share that idea or that tip. So it's definitely not unique. Then the 5 most asked questions. That's definitely one where you can start. And then is there something that you're very passionate about? I've seen this, right? So people very passionate about lifestyle financial planning, very passionate about financial coaching, especially today. People are like, really into helping people through transitions. It becomes about more than just the technical, this is how tax works, this is the implication, this is what you can get back when you have a retirement annuity. So it goes beyond that, and people become so passionate about it. So write about that. Write about it. But don't go from the premise of, let's just say, lifestyle financial planning is so much better than, just looking at what's in your portfolio. It's not about that. It is saying, like, what is the problem and what is the solution, and making lifestyle financial planning the solution. It's not making lifestyle financial planning better than another form, even though that's what you may believe, or maybe that's even a fact. It's not about that. It's about, here's a different way for, if this is your situation, this is your problem, then this is the solution. And then talk about that, because when you're passionate, it's so much easier. I mean, you're having these conversations every single day. Then write about that. And then share. I think this is a very powerful one that I think we do way too little of, and this is so powerful. Some of the insurance companies do this when they bring out their claim statistics, but share anonymized stories from your clients, things that's happened. So whether it's a claim, whether it is, how we help somebody to gain control, help them make better decisions, whatever that may be, and feature that client as the hero and yourself as the guide. And it will be extremely powerful from that point. And those are evergreen. All of this is evergreen content. So that is where I would start from an ideas point of view. All right. So let me jump on over to the comments quickly. Let's see. I just want to say good morning. Hi, Ben. I hope you're still around. Thanks for saying hi. And Chepo, nice to see you. Julie, good to see you. Gavin. And then, right. So let's go in. Hello, Wayne. Hope you're well. Congrats on your BCom, my friend. Goba says it's about branding, and branding leads to business. Yes, it is. But I think there's 2 sides to that. It is a journey, not a project. Absolutely. Start with doing the video challenge. Yes, we did the 5-day video challenge. It does get you out of your comfort zone, and you did a phenomenal job. So consistency is key, says Terence. Absolutely. Terence is also like, I mean, you've been doing this now for a long time. I mean, I would consider you a master. So yeah, absolutely cool stuff. Here's a good tip. So if something like writing, and I also use this, by the way, this is absolutely brilliant. Grammarly, it's a free tool. You can, there's also a paid option for it, but the free version works freaking well. It does show you, around grammar. It does show you around punctuations. It does show you around spelling. So all of that, and it works in your browser. You can even get the add-on like to work in Word or Google Docs or things like that. So it is a phenomenal. Thanks for sharing that, Jonita. It is a really great tool. Maybe that's something I can feature in the technology section. Kobus also says yes, it is, and being Afrikaans even more so. I feel that. So I'm with you on that one. And Charmaine says learning a lot. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. We'll be back same time, same place next week, Friday at 7 a.m. So thank you very much for being here live. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Go get your ticket for the Propulsion Summit at propulsionsummit.com, and stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And remember to raise the bar. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.